Hello, everyone. Welcome into another edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach down in Atlanta. Jim Goodman joins us from his Keeneland office, director of simulcasting, and we're going to take a look at 3 graded stakes races on the Oaklawn Park card, plus graded stakes at Gulfstream and Santa Anita. And Jim, let's start with Oaklawn and the Grade 2 Azeri, which is the 8th race. They have 3 stakes, graded stakes back-to-back, culminating with a Derby Prep, the Rebel. But we'll start with the Azeri Fillies and Mares Forward up at a mile in the 16th. And a nice group here. Who did you land on?
Yeah, nice little race. And Bill Mott has just announced that he is taking closed hatches to Oaklawn rather than shipping her to the West Coast. So she's the class of the race, but she hadn't been out since the distaff back in November. Don't Tell Sophia has a recency advantage on her because Phil Sims has her going really well right now. She's won her last 2 at Oaklawn. She's 4 for 6 at Oaklawn lifetime. And On Fire Baby is my 3rd horse. She's been off since October 6th. She ran the Spinster here at Keeneland and got beat by Emollient that day. They gave her a nice little rest, and I think she loves Oaklawn. She's 2 for 3, including a win last year in the Honeybee, which was won last week. So she's actually she won that when she was a 3-year-old in 2012. And then she won the Apple Blossom last year. So she runs big at Oaklawn. I'm going to take her on top. I'm thinking that Gary Hartledge will have her ready, and I'm going to key her in tries with Don't Tell Sophia, the 4, and Close Hatches, the 1, with all.
I started to go for On Fire Baby myself, but I ended up coming back to Close Hatches. I liked this filly for the Oaks last year. I really thought she was going to do some big things, and while she did win, was a Grade 1 winner, she didn't quite, I think, get to the level that a lot of people thought that she might, and then ran into Beholder at the end of the year out on Breeders' Cup Day. So I'm looking for her to really maybe break out in her 4-year-old year, and she's working like gangbusters. And Mott is not one to usually fire a lot of bullets with his horses in the morning. So I'm going Close Hatches, and then I would key her on top in exactas with the 4, 6, and 7, which is Don't Tell Sophia, Flashy American, and On Fire Baby. But Close Hatches gets the pick for me for the win. 9th race, the Grade 3 Razorback, 4-year-olds and up at a mile at a 16th. And in here, you've got a horse called to serve that switched barns to Steve Asmussen, which I think is interesting. Horse is working well. Governor Charlie for Baffert. But I ended up coming to Golden Lad. You don't usually get much of a value on a Todd Pletcher horse, but this is a horse that's been cranking out allowance wins down at Gulfstream, and now he moves him into stakes company, and Pletcher's sharp when he makes these kinds of moves and ships out with a horse that's in good form like this, and he picks a spot to ship out to. So I'm going to go with Golden Lad to win, but I'm going to put it basically for wagering purposes a 3-horse exacta box with Golden Lad, Called to Serve, and Governor Charlie, 4, 5, and 6. I think any one of the 3 could win it. What about you?
I think Golden Lad is certainly live here because you look back at the last 3 races for him, and the horses that ran second, Suns Out, Guns Out, and Valid, both came back and won next time out, so that validates his form. But I took Called to Serve. Called to Serve has been off since March of last year, so almost a 13-month break. But Asmussen gets him now, picks up Santana, working well, and it looks like to me the race sets up very well for him because you got some speed with Golden Lad and Right to Vote and Tap Town on the inside and Governor Charlie if he's ready. So I think it sets up well for a closer, and Called to Serve ran 3 buyers, 104, 106, 105 last year between November and March, and any one of those 3 wins this race, I think. Tap Town's interesting to me. Finished second in the Oaklawn Handicap last year over this track. Gets Arroyo, who's a hot jockey at Oaklawn. So I'm going to do an exacta box with Called to Serve and Tap Town, but you make a point on Golden Lad. I think he's live.
10th race is the Grade 3 Rebel Stakes, prep on the road to the Kentucky Derby. And you've got Tapiture and Strong Mandate in a rematch in here. Who did you go for?
Well, I have to do this. I have to explain my pick here. I have Colby's back in the Derby Future Pool, and I think either 42 to 1 or 53 to 1. And it was the day, I think it closed right after he won the San Vicente, and he just wasn't getting any respect at all. And John Sadler's got him going really well right now. And you toss the Cash Call Futurity, and he's run 3 good races. Shared Belief beat him last year in the Hollywood Preview, and he came back and won just for fun on February 16th. So I'm going to take Kobe's back in an upset. He's the 8 horse on the outside. Strong Mandate really needed his last. I don't think he was going to beat Tapiture that day. He had a rough trip. Rosario stays, so I'm going to take Strong Mandate below with Tapiture. So I'm going to do a $10 exacta wheel, 8 with 3-4. So Kobe's back is my pick in the Rebel.
I am going outside of all three of those, who I respect a lot, but I'm going with Baffert's horse Opportunity for 2 reasons. He ran a kind of a so-so fourth in the Risen Star, and instead of maybe taking this horse back to California, getting him a little easier spot, he ships him over to a Grade 2 at Oaklawn, and he brings Mike Smith, who's we all know a great big money rider, in to take the ride. So for those 2 reasons, Opportunity, I think, because of how impressive Tapiture was and Strong Mandate needing the race, Kobe's back spent some impressive numbers, all those things leads me to think that Opportunity might be 4 or 5 to 1 maybe, I'm hoping. So Opportunity for me, and I will key him in exactas over the 3 that you like. So 5 over 3, 4, 8 for me in the exacta, and then turn it the other way for a little less, maybe half of what I would wager it with Opportunity on top. Gulfstream Park, 10th race is the Grade 2 Honey Fox. Those are mares on the turf, 4 and up at a flat mile. Center Court's a horse that I've just always loved. Grade 1 winner at Keeneland, likes Gulfstream, and this is a tough spot off of layoffs. Good horses in here, but she's working like she's ready, and I just think a promising year kind of fizzled on her last summer, and then Rusty Arnold just stopped on her. I'm thinking she's going to be ready to fire first off the bench. Tapacat the 7, Paranda the 5 merit a lot of respect, so I would box those 3 in an exacta, but Center Court is the win pick for me. What about you?
I like the same 3, but I'm going to take Tapacat simply because Center Court's been off since August. Tapacat, the 7 horse, lost to 2 great fillies in Pontchartrain and Egg Drop in the Grade 2 Buena Vista, and she's 3 for 3 at Gulfstream Park. Johnny Velasquez, I just think everything points to her, and I'm going to take her on top in a $1 try with the 5 Paranda and the 6 Center Court below with all. So Tapacat is my pick in the Honey Fox.
It'll be a good race, I think. The 7th race out of Santa Anita is a Grade 1, the Santa Margarita. Fillies and mares 4 and up. They'll go a mile and an 1/8. And who'd you go for here?
Well, it's almost a rematch of the La Canada at Santa Anita back on January 19th, and I think 4 horses come out of the same race. I'm going to go with a horse that finished 3rd in that race, Stanwyck. I went back and watched the race, and she didn't really break that well. She still got a 9-3 buyer, got beat by 3.5 by Iotapa and Let Faith Arise. Goes from Alex Solis to Gary Stevens. That's got to be worth at least a couple of lengths. Gary Stevens is riding as well as anybody. He's 29% right now in Santa Anita meet, 19 for 65. So John Sheriff's, Gary Stevens, maybe turn the tables on Iotapa a little bit, who may not get that easy lead with Miss Serendipity in the field. So I'm going to take Stanwyck on top. Exacta box, maybe Stanwyck and Iotapa 6-7, maybe a little bit heavier with Stanwyck on top, maybe a $20 one way and $10 the other way.
I'm going to go with Spellbound for Richard Mandela. He's wins at a 21% rate off these short breaks. This horse, I thought the last race was a breakout for her, and she's 3 for 4 at Santa Anita. So what I'll do is just do exacta boxes with Spellbound and Stanwyck, 2 and 6, with Spellbound and Let Faith Arise for Hollendorfer, 2 and 5, and Spellbound and Iotapa, those would be 2 and 7. So everything keying on the 2, but just the same amount both ways, and Spellbound runs first or second. I'll hope to cash, but Spellbound gets the pick for me to win. So that's the rundown for this Saturday's edition of the In the Money podcast. Next week, it'll be Spiral Stakes Day at Turfway Park, so we'll be taking a look at that race. Among others, best of luck with your wagers. Make sure to keep your accounts funded, KeenelandSelect.com. If you're watching a lot of basketball, you always might find a good thing that you want to get a wager on and keep your account funded at KeenelandSelect.com. See you next week.